Good evening, everyone. My name is Rob, and welcome back for another F1 Fantasy video. F1 Fantasy stream, I should be saying. I hope you're all well. I hope you're having a great end of your week, wherever you are in the world watching this. Friday night, where I am. Probably Saturday morning for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, or Asia Pacific, I should say. And probably around midnight or so for those of you in Europe and the UK. I hope everything is going well on the audio visual front. I've made a few tweaks, changes to the setup of the videos. You could probably tell, testing something out before the stream started with I don't even know what you'd call that, like an introductory screen, a starting stream. I don't really know. But yeah, rolling out a few upgrade packages of my own with a couple races left on the calendar. So hopefully they work. Just testing things out before the new package comes in 2026. So yeah, bear with me if there are any technical gremlins. There usually are on these streams. This usually collapses about 20 minutes in. So be prepared for a disconnection at some point. But otherwise, I hope everything is well with you guys. And looking forward to another Q&A stream. A little earlier than usual, only because I have commitments later this evening with some friends who are in town from Sydney and want to make sure I attend to this as much as I attend to seeing them. So a little earlier, but there's going to be, between now and the deadline, at least 4 hours of consecutive F1 fantasy content between my channel, Ewan, Adam, Rain, the whole shebang. So I'm sure there's plenty to go around. But yeah, good to see some of you already in the chat. Plenty of you out and about in force on your Friday. I do apologize for the incorrect title for the stream. I reused the old settings from Mexico, and when I changed something, I think the old settings kind of relapsed. So anyway, Hannah, Michael times two, I should say. Two of the regulars. Nixie, as always, a regular feature in the chat. Speed and Power, hope you're well. Victoria, Emir, I hope I've said that correctly. So a few people here, not many, only because I know it's earlier than usual and it's a weird time for everyone, pretty much, unless you're in the US or in Asia/Australia. And look, even if you can make just a little bit before your bedtime, if you're in Europe, that's still appreciated all the same. And before we get into it, throw the channel a subscribe if you haven't. If you're watching, like the video, goes a long way. And yeah, we got 2 hours or so of this, and 4 hours out until the deadline. So yeah. Let's kick things off. A couple of questions early going. I know it'll be less busy in the chat, so it means more attention to pay towards you guys. But I definitely think I might crack a seltzer or something midstream. I got a few moving parts. Went for a run on the old post-workout protein shake. I'm sure you can smell the protein through the camera. And yeah, let's tuck into some questions, and then we'll look at sims, free practice times, all that good stuff. Max, George, Isaac, Behrman, Gasly, McLaren, Racing Bulls, Speed and Power is asking. I like it. I guess budget is probably the biggest inhibitor of your team there, but I think kind of what you can get looks pretty good. The only suggestion I would maybe make is, instead of George, could you get to Mercedes and then downgrade, Behrman or Hadjar? Try and get two premium constructors. I think that's going to get more points than a B tier constructor. But these overtakes, man, overtakes at this track, they're pretty deadly. So I don't hate the idea of a Racing Bulls or a Haas, but I think my gut at this late stage of the season, if you can run two A tier constructors, I definitely recommend. Will, great to have you here, my friend. Always very happy to engage with you on Twitter, X, and here. Pre-watch party. We'll do FP3 watch along as well, because that obviously starts in 25 minutes or so. So I'll just have the FP3 up on my. I'm just checking the audio. I think it's fine. The mic kind of ebbs and flows sometimes. But yeah, we'll have FP3 up and running. So you know, if you want to watch that, you can alongside this stream. If you don't want to watch me and you just want to watch it with the actual pundits, you know, Jakesy or Crofty or whoever, then by all means. Kunal is in Vegas. Love to see that. Love to see that. I was there. I was actually there the last 2 years. It's my first time since they started racing in Vegas. I'm not there for a race weekend. So enjoy Kunal. 8 p.m. Speed and Power. So that would make you. I'm assuming Speed and Power's on the West Coast. A couple of people I know in the chat have dialed in from California and such. If you could only keep McLaren or Mercedes, which would you keep? Victoria's asking. I would probably keep McLaren, only because I think they're going to be extremely competitive in Qatar. And I think Lando right now, you know, in an hour's time, once we've got through FP3, maybe Lando's not, but right now I'd say he looks probably the best driver on the top teams. I mean, it's his race to lose, as it has been for the last couple of weeks. So I think kind of with that, yeah, Oscar's bound to turn it around, right? I've been saying that for a few weeks and it's just not happened. So I think I'd probably keep McLaren, Victoria. Russell and Colapinto for Antonelli or Behrman, or for Antonelli and Tsunoda. I've seen a few Antonelli Tsunoda lineups. I don't mind it as a differential, but there's a lot of stock you're putting into Tsunoda, and I think he's got a better chance of racking up points coming from the back than he does kind of sitting around 7th the entire race. So yeah, I'd probably go. I don't almost. Yeah. Do you take out Russell for Antonelli? Like, for me, I think Russell is just the more consistent option. I don't really. Let's go over to F1 Fantasy Tools. Go over to the statistics page. I got a gut feeling this stream is about to tank, but that's just me. Everything seems slow, and when things seem slow, that usually means there's something to be worried about. Anyway, we will keep pushing on, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to look at, you know, the Russell. I've been holding that protein shake for 5 minutes, and I haven't even taken a sip. So let's look at the Russell Antonelli side by side. It's been, since Baku, pretty even. Obviously, you know, he's had not so great results in Europe, but, you know, as soon as they exited the European leg, they've been pretty even. I mean, George has, with the exception of Brazil, outscored Kimi in every single race weekend. And I kind of expect that to stay the same again. Yes, Kimi had that P2 yesterday, but generally would think George is going to outscore him. It's, I guess, budget dependent, right? If you've got a team under 130 million, then I think Antonelli's probably the better value for money option. But if you've got 135 plus, like I do, I'm probably just going to go George. He's more reliable. I'm going to jinx it now, but he's finished every race this year. He's just a more consistent driver that tends to outperform that car. So I think Franco versus Behrman, like, I don't know. Mike, as in Yank the Mike, on X, who I'm sure some of you know, called out Behrman having running a risk around this track. I'm not going to write off Ollie because he's still a guaranteed 0.6 million rise for this weekend at his budget threshold, or his points threshold, if I can get my words out. But I don't think Ollie's going to be as confident here as he has been at other tracks. I think it's a pure play for budget. You'll probably get 10 points, 15 points at most from him. I think most drivers should be in the box seat in the B tier for at least double-digit points. And Ollie will be right there. But he didn't seem overly confident yesterday. If you go over to I'll just bring it up for reference on you, for those of you that haven't seen it. But there was an article published on Formula1.com, and I just stripped out some of the quotes from notable F1 fantasy assets. The Behrman quote was quite interesting to me. Like, he's obviously not raced here before, so there's probably a lack of confidence here compared to other tracks he has raced at in the past. Obviously has to find his rhythm. I think the low grip is going to be troubling for a lot of the rookies who have not raced here before. So I'm interested to see how he adapts. And Mike's obviously called out the fact that he could crash. I don't think it's like that much of a concern for me, but I don't think he's going to be as competitive here as he has been in the last couple of race weekends. Hoodie Nade's asking, is it worth changing lineup if you already have Lando, Max, Alonso, Gasly, Colapinto with McLaren, Mercedes? Probably not. I think that's pretty good, to be honest. Because they're the three lowest priced assets, Alonso, Gasly, Colapinto. I think, if you really want to make a move, it's probably taking out Max for a Mercedes asset, depending on practice, and then upgrading one of, I'd say, Alonso or Colapinto. Jake Lamana's current team is Max, Behrman, Alonso, Gasly, Bortoleto, McLaren, Mercedes. Looks good, man. I'm the same team as you, going Bortoleto to Behrman and saving a transfer to enable these lineups for Qatar for the 3x use. Yeah, I think that looks good. Honestly, the Norris Verstappen people next weekend, I'm going to be so jealous. So jealous. I'm just seething that Piastri DNF on my 3x. I tell you what. Louise says, hello from Brazil. Would you believe it, Louise? I'm going to be in Brazil as of Sunday for a week. So if you're in Rio, let me know, because that's where I'll be. Going to get away for Thanksgiving. Little trip down there. Haven't been before, so pretty excited. If you've got any Rio de Janeiro recommendations beyond Christ the Redeemer, Sugarloaf Mountain, Copacabana, throw them in the chat. I'm all ears. Michael wants to talk about the 3x setup for Qatar. Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think a lot of content creators are discussing that at the moment. I mean, even I've given it like a lot of thought. Not that I can use my 3x, but I think setting teams up for those that do need to use the 3x next week are, probably needing to plan ahead this weekend. I know Rain is thinking about rolling a transfer and having that extra flexibility. I think if you can carry 3 transfers into Qatar, it gives you more of an ability to react to practice and sprint quali, setting up for the 3x chip. If you can, I would probably roll a transfer. If you've got a lineup similar to mine, I think it's probably like a Bortoleto, or some people might have Alonso, move them out to an asset like, if not Behrman, maybe an Ocon. Ride some price rises if you can, and then with 3 transfers, allow you to maneuver the rest of your team around to squeeze in like a Norris Verstappen. I mean, Mike, you've got, I think, Norris Russell, right? Or did you have Verstappen last week? I can't remember. I thought you had the same 2 driver lineup as me, but ultimately, I think if you're really planning for the 3x chip in Qatar, having 3 transfers, if you can, probably gives you the most flexibility to react and pivot, account for any price drops. And like, if you've already used the 3x, I think budget building is probably much less of a focus. Like myself, I'm not really looking to make money the last 3 races. I'm going for points and points alone. Differentials that can build a gap can help me rise in the ranks. And theoretically, if there was like a Stroll that had negative 20 points for price rise, I wouldn't be going near him, because he probably won't score that many points between now and the end of the year. But the Haas drivers, the Racing Bulls drivers, Carlos Sainz, they're going to score points. So I think that's kind of where you've got to focus your attention on at the moment. Felix, not sure if we're keeping Piastri on my team. Possible move so far, Norris to Verstappen or Piastri to Russell, so I have 3 next race. Honestly, if you've already got Piastri in your team, I don't really see the point in taking him out unless you're just so set on not... unless you're so against having him in your team. Oh, sugar. I forgot to post I'm going to have to get up, but I'm literally right here. I got a moving box right behind me, so I hope you don't mind the clutter in the apartment. I just forgot to tell everyone I'm live, so not that it really matters, like who's going to be watching this live stream at midnight in the UK, right? But yeah, I think So if you've already got Piastri, I guess my thoughts there are I think McLaren are going to be competitive in Qatar. They're really good with the medium to high speed corners. So Lando, I expect, will be very good. Probably must own on the 3X if you haven't used it, and probably still must own if you haven't got any other chips. I think Oscar's probably the best differential driver to have next weekend. I really do think that he's got one last roll of the dice, even though we're no longer in Vegas at that point. And for those people that want a differential, I think he could easily be the second highest scoring driver in F1 Fantasy next weekend. So if you've got Piastri right now, I would probably hold. So for that reason, and then I probably wouldn't move to Verstappen. I think if you've got Lando, you hold him. But I can see your point, Felix. You're kind of trying to maneuver. I don't know. It's kind of a hard one, right? Like, if you have Russell now, you may end up wanting to move him out next week. But again, Felix, if you've already used a 3X, then I guess it's a slightly different situation. Sorry, I've gone off on a huge tangent over one question that most people in the chat probably can't relate to. But anyway, hopefully that helped one way or another. Sal, 131 million budget, has Lando and Antonelli, signs Bortoletto, had Joe McLaren Mercedes. I think that looks pretty good. I'd probably move out Bortoletto for a Haas driver or a Racing Bulls. Playing around with my team right now, Speed and Power says, I've Max on 2X, Isaac Hadja, Pierre, McLaren Mercedes. I have 20.8 in the bank. Oh, I need 2 more drivers, right. I would probably go, Behrman, Max. Oh, I see what you mean. So you've only, Isaac Hadja and Pierre Gasly. You 28, okay, 20.8. Right. So I'd probably go Kimi Antonelli. Can you, what's Kimi's price at? 16, right? 16.9. If you've got 3 transfers, Kimi, that's a tough one, man. Yeah, I'd look at either Kimi and then that's probably 3 transfers though. For 2 transfers, it's probably Albon then. I'd look at Albon or Tsunoda, and then an Esteban Ocon or a Oliver Behrman. Based on car designs and performance the entire year as per straight line speeds, how do you rank Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes and McLaren, irrespective of the drivers? Based on car designs and performance the entire year. Red Bull have been pretty competitive in the straight line. I mean, McLaren have been good. They've got the best all-round car. So I'd say probably Red Bull, McLaren. I don't actually know how Mercedes and Ferrari stack up in a straight line. But the problem is, I guess your question, Kunal, if it's in the context of Las Vegas, Max specifically, even though I think Red Bull have very good straight line speed, have said the temperatures and the track evolution probably makes it a more difficult track to gauge their true performance compared to the likes of Monza, Baku, even Coda on that back straight. So I still think Red Bull, McLaren probably easily the top 2, and then I don't really know between Mercedes and Ferrari. Where have Mercedes won, right? Singapore, they were good in Canada. Is that it? George only won twice, right? So, yeah, where did George win? He won in Canada and he won in Singapore, right? Yeah. They're not really straight line tracks. I don't know. Mercedes have been more consistent, so I'd probably rank them ahead of Ferrari. Am I planning on using autopilot? Yes. Norris Russell. Yeah, thought so, Mike. Sorry, I'm a bit behind in the chat. We got caught up on different tangents. Did I see a Delamain Sports feature in the chat? I don't think I did. Because Mike said, hey Jay. I wasn't sure if Jay was in there, but maybe not. Victoria's got 126.7 with current team McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Bem, Sainz, Bortoleto, Gasly. Any transfer suggestions? I plan on using limitless chip Qatar. Great idea. Yeah, absolutely. Transfer suggestions. Victoria depends on how much spare cost cap you have. I would probably move out Bortoleto and bring. We haven't even looked at free practice times, and we're 22 minutes into the stream. This is a new record of procrastination. I'd move out Bortoleto, and you've got Sainz and Gasly and Behrman. Maybe a Hulkenberg? Ocon? I'd almost take Ocon over Bortoleto. Yeah. Victoria, I'd roll one transfer, bring an Ocon, and then have... Oh no, but then you got to go to Qatar, so you're using the 3XS. So I'd use 2. Yeah, I'd probably move out Bortoleto... Probably move out Bortoleto, and then if you want to be really different, get in Hadjar for Gasly, but yeah, maybe that. But yeah, Bortoleto is the only like definite asset I consider moving out. I've took McLaren so far. Nice, Felix. Watching live from Scotland. Right on, Gordon. Right on. Kind of forced to keep Stroll in my team for Vegas. What do you think his performance will be? I think it'll be fine. Like he'll qualify 17th or something, and he'll just sit at the back, maybe make a few overtakes. He had a good race here in 2023. I think it was 30 odd points he had. It's just the further back you are, the more chance you have of making more overtakes, and like obviously you can't go any further back, so the likelihood of positions lost is very small. Use autopilot in Las Vegas or Abu Dhabi. I'm probably going to use it this week because unless well, I'm tempted to. I'm probably like 80% using it here, 20% using it in Abu Dhabi. Because I think Lando will win in Qatar because McLaren should be the fastest car. I mean, this is kind of what I want to do this week, right? I do want to roll a transfer though, but I don't need to use the 3X, so I don't really feel like I have another move to make. I'm 0.2 million short of Behrman, but I guess I've got on screen here, I take Sainz out, plug Behrman in, plug Hadjar in. I could do that too. But then, like, where does that leave my team in Qatar? And I think I want Piastri, and I want to have that flexibility. If I put him in there, that doesn't give me a lot of wiggle room, and that probably means hang on. I also want to get up FP3, yeah, on the other screen. Hang on, how do I turn off this volume? I don't want it coming through the speakers, and I know that. Yeah, I think you guys got there. Anyway, I think having the stream running with, I reckon it's going to really screw with the computer. I think it's really going to screw with the computer. Yeah, I knew it. Yeah, I think because as we all know, I came through the speakers. I'm gonna have to. I think it was also like the screen went black on my side. It probably did on you guys as well. So I'm just gonna watch it on my phone. Lol. You know, if there's one thing for sure about this stream, it's never gonna be. It's never gonna be normal. Okay. I just gotta watch it on my phone because it obviously woke the whose dog did it wake up? It woke Big Karma's dog up. I'm gonna just pop it on the phone, rest it up against the laptop here. Actually no, is there a better way to like prop this up? Here. Put the Ferrari hat here. A bit of DIY. There we go. Ah, perfect. So the phone's just gonna be here. Free practice watch along. F1 jump scare. Yeah. bit of rambling. Anyway, I'm going to have the phone here so it doesn't slow down the stream. M. Great to have you here, my friend. Looking at these FP3 results with lots of possible moves, we have the same lineup. Yeah. I think, sorry, Jake, to go back to your question about autopilot. I think here, maybe. But Lando looks good. Sorry, that was really loud into the speaker. I think Lando is probably going to win again. If he's top of the charts, like I may just not use the autopilot chip if he looks that dominant. And so, for that reason, I may save it for Abu Dhabi and then have a punt on like Verstappen, Piastri or something and hope one of them like go real differential and have the autopilot as like an insurance in my back pocket. But anyway, back to my team. So theoretically, like right now, it's Russell there, Sainz and Gabby Bortz. So yeah, I think like logically for me, one move this week would just be Esteban Ocon in. Like that seems sensible. I roll a transfer. I'd love to get Behrman in, but I want 3 in Qatar to react to, you know, whether or not Oscar's worth actually owning. And if, let's just say I do this. So let's say I do this. That gives me 2 left over in the bank and gives me 3 transfers. So I would probably go, practice starts in 1 minute and 35 seconds on my timer. Oh, I'm about to sneeze. Maybe not. Stage fright. So then I think then to get in Oscar, I would have to move out Sainz as well. Assuming though there are some budget swings. So like I could do it in 2 moves, but I don't want to run that risk and then have to take a -10. So, you know, I could do that in 2 moves, potentially. And then like plop in a Hadjar next week or something. To get to Verstappen though, it's a bit of a stretch for my team. That's the problem. Like if I felt really confident, then I could do it in 3, but I would need 3 transfers. So I think, you know, looking at the budget builder this week, God, the computer is really struggling. It would just be so nice to have Behrman as that 0.6 insurance. But yeah, Ocon -1 for, unless he DNS, I'm like Ocon should comfortably outstrip that -1 threshold, like comfortably. I think pretty much everyone from Hadjar up should easily reach the 0.6 this weekend. I mean, unless Hadjar qualifies 5th and then sinks like a stone, I think, you know, at least these top 5 should easily get 0.6, all high overtaking track. Like, unless Kimi's like 3rd or something, but I mean, he's not going to drop unless he, again, DNFs. So, yeah, I think Behrman, if you can get to him in 1 move, like, great option just because of that insurance against the DNF, especially if you're still yet to use the 3X. But I think for me, I'm more inclined to go Ocon. I love that auto refresh. They do need a reset button so you can, you know, reset your team. But anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be Ocon for me. I've got Behrman and Hadjar as my tentative plans, but the more I think about it, the more I like having 3 transfers and more flexibility. But yeah, we're a minute in to FP3 by the looks of things. What else we got in the chat? I have 12.9 left for 1 driver. It's probably Alex Albon, speed and power. Behrman starting any lower than 13th is really good for overtake points. I'm also looking at Hadjar Behrman. Nice, yeah, nice one. Just made my FPL transfers, decided on Virgil and Thiago to enter the team. Yeah, I took Gabriel out and put Virgil in. Yuki, Ocon, Hadjar or Gasly, who would I choose? Probably Ocon or Hadjar. When to use 3X and Limitless? I'd be using Limitless next week, and I'd probably be using 3X I want to say here on Lando, but there's not really a clear second driver. So I think I'd probably just wait until Abu Dhabi and use it on Lando and one of either Norris or, one of either Verstappen or Piastri. But yeah, we're 30 minutes in. If you guys want to drop a like on the stream, that'd be awesome. It's a pretty quiet Friday night, and I'm okay with that. One of those things where, I'll be honest, it's going to be one of those chill streams. You might actually end up wanting to listen to Alex Jakes or David Croft instead, and I would too, to be honest. I wouldn't be listening to me. I'm just, yeah. Albon, did I say it? Oh, sorry, Speed. My bad. I assumed Albon was cheaper. You're so right. 12.9, then I'd probably go, if it's for a pure points play, I'd probably go Tsunoda because he did look very good yesterday. On the proviso that Red Bull continue to look decent in FP3. Otherwise, Behrman, man. Behrman's fine too. Oscar says it's too wet for a slick. I kind of want to put my headphones in so I can have one ear of... Bear with me. I was going to throw an AirPod in so I can at least get a bit of... Come on. There we go. It's just so I can hear what the commentators are saying as well. Okay. God, this is the most haphazard stream setup. We might not get any good info tonight. You're not wrong, Mike. We probably won't. And I got Twitter up on the other screen as well. I might even update my update this. Very nice. Ay. Oscar says it's too wet for slicks. What do you need to see this FP for Yuki to be an option? Yuki's so unpredictable. You're right, he is. That's what I think worries me, is that he's been... Let's have a look at his... It's not been a great over on F1 Fantasy Tour. It's not been like the most encouraging. Yeah, I mean, a lot of hype from Baku, Coda. I mean, these tracks, Baku, Duck Egg in Monza, right, where Max won. But good in Baku, where Max won. Good in Coda, where Max won. Decent in Brazil, where Max drove really well. Like, decent is not like that. 11 points is not that good when you've got the Racing Bulls drivers, the Haas drivers all scoring similarly. So, I don't know, man. I think Tsunoda's like, if you want to be really different, go for it. But I just think there are better options out there than him. Everyone on intermediate practice ruined. Is it residual dampness? Because I thought it stopped raining this afternoon. I guess the track's not fully dry, right? It's gonna be useless. So I think, honestly, like, that's even more of a reason to roll a transfer and just have that flexibility in Qatar. It's like, we don't have enough information to make an informed decision, so I don't really think it... I don't know. 3 races out, right, from the end of the year, you probably want to be aggressive with your transfers and capitalize on as much information as possible to get ahead. But when there is so little information, then, like, what's the point of forcing the hand? I mean, it's so easy to be a hindsight merchant, right? And get to the end of the weekend and you've only made one transfer, and then the second driver you almost thought about bringing in suddenly scored 25 points. And you're like, well, kind of wish I did that. But, you got to go off what you know at the time, right? 10 people or 1,000 people on stream doesn't matter. I'm on this stream for the long run. Felix, you're the man. You are the man. Triple Mercedes, Orlando, Behrman, Gasly, Sainz, Bortoleto, McLaren, Mercedes. Triple Mercedes with what, like a Haas, I'm guessing? I'd probably go the Mercedes McLaren. Oh, Triple Mercedes. Sorry, not Triple McLaren. So Triple Mercedes has McLaren as well? Yeah, go that. go different. I think as long as the triple Mercedes has McLaren, then I'd definitely do that. Michael Consuelo is going to drop and watch FP3 may drop by when the manhole pops. Sounds good. Yeah, have fun, man. Should track dry up a quali because they're on inters right now? I think so. Yeah. Like, the more rubber they lay down, the hotter the track is, the faster it'll dry out. But, yeah, this is going to be the most useless hour of practice we've had since... Oh, last night. What about Russell for Antonelli and Bortoletto for Sonoda? No. I wouldn't do that. I'd just keep Russell and then move Bortoletto out for like an Ocon or someone. Camillo, sorry. Alright, gotta go. Gonna spend the rest of the time till quality thinking about my 12.9. Yeah, I'd probably say Damon, man. Thank you for dropping by. Big Carmo's dog fell asleep because I didn't wake it up the second time. Would you take a -10 or a -20 to 3x Norris Verstappen or no hits in Norris Piastri? Not necessarily this week. You're talking about next week, right? 3x, yeah. I mean, put it this way, right? If you're going to have to take a -10 at some point, I think you'd probably rather take it the weekend you're activating the 3x because you know you'll have more information next weekend. Like, theoretically speaking, right? You don't want to take a -10 or a -20 this week to get in Verstappen, planning to use him on the 3x, and then all of a sudden, again, hypothetically, of course, Verstappen is like 6th in free practice and sprint quali and doesn't look all that great. I say that knowing full well he looked dreadful in Brazil and then had 63 points across the weekend. But Qatar, keep in mind, is much harder to overtake. It's medium to high speed corners, so there's not a lot of like entry points to dive bomb. So I think Max will have a harder time making passes if he started further back. So I think if you're inevitably taking a -20 or a -10, I'd just rather do it the weekend you're using the chip, so you have more information to react to, if that makes sense. Guess I should just be conservative and focus on budget building. 131.9 transfer out Bortoletto and Alonso. I mean, Parzival, also great name. If you're referencing what game is it? Not what game. What movie is it? Is it Ready Player One? Is that where Parzival's from? You can focus on budget building all you want, but like 3 races to go, I'm really not looking at building budget. I'm solely focused on points, and I think Ocon can do that. He has a Q1 exit in him every couple of weeks. Race pace is solid, but not spectacular. Again, we still haven't looked at free practice. We're 40 minutes in. I mean, there's not really a lot to talk about in free practice. That's the problem. So yeah, I think just take out Bortoletto, and Alonso will only drop 0.4. So, he'll be 4.5 in Qatar and again in Abu Dhabi. There's probably not much point to moving him out if you want to have an enabler. Wagner. Got it. Okay. I like the post FP2 thoughts tweets you put out. Russell Antonelli feel like the main threat for the win beside Norris. Yeah, I agree with you, M. Yeah, I'm glad you take something away from those FP2 thoughts tweets. I put them out every week. Because if people can't make streams, or if I don't have one to do that week, then they've got the tweet, I suppose, to refer to. Current team: Verstappen, Antonelli, Behrman, Bortoletto, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes. 2 transfers can do Russ, Hadjar for Bortoletto, Antonelli. Should I do Norris over Verstappen or Russell over Antonelli? What about mandatory 2 pit stops? Rather have Red Bull than Max at Qatar, to be honest. Yeah, valid point. Red Bull have been really good. Red Bull have been real good in the pits, haven't they? Oh, that article, Michael, wasn't written by me. I just took it off F1, and I think that was written by, what's her name? Becky or Beth? I forget. One of the other freelance journalists for Formula One posted that. I just thought it was really good because our friend Pop Pan Man has said for quite some time, and I agree with him, that you really have to put stock in what the drivers say about the car, probably even more so than these more so than the actual mock simulations that they publish, because they're not really all that helpful, I find. But yeah, I'll start doing that more, Mike, because I think it's good to know how the drivers feel about the car and the track as well. Hang on. What's happened to Albon? Oh, he's just run off track. Albon's just run off track. Nothing crazy. Nothing serious. Mandatory, yeah, 2 pit stops. I answered that one. Indeed, a wet FP3, Boricia. Bortoletta Colapinto said that I can sign Behrman into Antonelli. Thoughts? Love it. Love it, Victoria. I think Antonelli is like a huge upgrade on Behrman. If you can afford Antonelli, like I'm not going to be able to do that this week because I'm more than likely set on rolling a transfer for Qatar. But if I had Bortoletta, right, what can I do? I can't even get to a team like, I don't think if I had Verstappen to Kimi, like let's just for argument's sake drop in Franco. We got Ewan in the chat. F1 Fantasy pole position streaming 2 hours before the deadline. I'm 4 hours before, so it goes me straight into Ewan. A two-headed beast of a 4 hours of content. I can't even get to Antonelli with Max. I'd have to drop to like a Red Bull, right? Like anti-McLaren, which again is just so far outside the realms of what I'll be doing this week because I want McLaren in Qatar. So, I mean, wouldn't it be hilarious if like McLaren were just nowhere in Qatar? But that's just not going to happen. This makes no sense for my team because it would take so much surgery to get in and so much surgery to get out. No one wants to waste a set on a slippery circuit. Is what Jolene is saying. Yeah, no one's laying down. Yeah, this is gonna be another useless free practice session. Ewan, what moves are you making? Are you doing 2 transfers? Because you've got the 3x, right? You're breathing down my neck. I think you're like 50 points behind me because I am unashamed to admit that I am checking my rearview mirrors so much for Ewan, Adam, who am I forgetting? Like F1 Fantasy Tools. Anyone that hasn't used Mike, I think anyone that hasn't used their 3x chip, I've got one eye on them in the rearview mirror because a lot of people probably only had or were down 50 points in Coda when I use a 3x because Piastri DNF'd. So I am a bit worried that a lot of people are going to really make up a lot of ground in Qatar if the 3x bangs. I'm over here with 136.5 and a wildcard available and confused what to do. Well, Baricia, it depends on what your team is, right? I think most people probably have to go Lando at this point, right? We're going to have 0 useful information to go off. Like what? I haven't even looked at the team calculator. I have not even looked at the team calculator. And what's the suggested move? It will probably tell me to bring in Behrman. That's my guess. No, you guys don't want to. Oh, no, that's all right. Let's log in. So what is my team 1 suggested move? It's going to be like a Behrman. Oh, okay. Piastri. I'm not getting Piastri in. I'm not getting Leclerc in. Because like, what are the sims saying, right? So Antonelli higher than George Russell. So George will just not appear in any of my... Yeah, like George will not appear in any simulations if Antonelli's less and is priced and is expected to score more. I just backed George. Won here last year. Did he not? Yeah, he did. And I think he's just more consistent. Yeah, Lando's knocking in purple sectors. I've hardly paid attention to FP3 because we've been talking about fantasy. Oh, you're 15 points behind me. Oh, wow. You make up so much ground karma. Ewan, I think we've had, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've had the same team for like 4 or 5 weeks in a row now, which I don't, no qualms. It clearly means I'm making a good decision if you are as well. But I think we've like had, if not the same points almost every week, pretty similar points. Devin, how are you, mate? The Sims are hyping Leclerc, aren't they? Yeah, they are. But yeah, look, this is probably a good segue to look at free practice, right? Because we've not, in 48 minutes, not given it a single minute of time and attention. And FP1 is always the least reliable because everyone's just starting with their setup. So like, this is definitely not going to be the running order once everything is said and done. I mean, I'd love that to be an Albon Sonoda podium, but it's not going to happen. Like, Charles, great. But Antonelli, who was second, and then Lando, who was, top of the timing charts in FP2, they were like nowhere near this. So, I think like take everything with a pinch of salt. Oscar was saying he got like 2 full laps yesterday. So I just think there's too much of a reason to avoid. Sorry, let me make actual sense with what I'm saying. There's so many reasons for me to swerve Leclerc simply because of the fact that, not because I don't like him, I think between him, Hamilton and Ferrari, he's definitely the Ferrari asset I'd want the most in my team. But the inconsistencies worry me a lot. So like, let's, for argument's sake, so if I take out Oscar, right, 214 points. I'm not even going to look at budget change because it's not a priority for me at this point in the season. 214 expected points, right? If I force include Russell, because I will probably keep him this week, it's 210, and the single swap is, well, I'm not making these transfers. This one would be, the solitary swap would be Behrman. 5 points less, like that's at an overtake track like Vegas, like 5 points goes like that in the blink of an eye. So I'm genuinely fine. And like, what's Ocon's Sims? It's probably like 4 points. I haven't looked at these at all. 4.8. So I'm so okay with just making a decision for myself. The Sims are always super helpful, and they've guided me, for most of the deadlines this season. But with so little information to go off, I'm not really. Ewan has no idea what to do, and like sometimes it's best to do nothing at all or nothing-ish, and like that's kind of the logic. Is like we've got so little information, so why force a decision? George and Lando seem nice to keep if we have not. Yeah, agreed. Have my 3x for next race also final fixed. I'd use the final fix in Abu Dhabi, Devon, unless we see something crazy in qualifying tonight, but I just don't see it happening. Yeah, I mean, that's another good point, right? It's like Gasly didn't DNF like Bortoletto last race, but like, how can you? I think Bort's just got a bit nervous and excited. Home track, you just can't. Yeah. Tsunoda with an emergency box issue with the car. I mean, it's quite funny. Leclerc had that same, again, another kind of reason for wanting to maybe miss Ferrari is like Leclerc's, was it an engine issue or a brake issue at the end of practice yesterday? It got overshadowed because it was right at the very end. People kind of, unless you were on the broadcast, people forgot about it almost instantly. Got overlooked because of the drain cover and all that crap. So again, like Ferrari having more issues, just I don't feel remotely inclined to go Oscar Piastri. I'm gonna look for some water because Hadjar logging a purple sector on an intermediate. Yeah, I'm not putting a lot of stock in that. It's actually quite nice not having to, it's such a strange thing to say as someone who's doing a live stream, but this feels like a very relaxed, therapeutic stream. Like less than 100 viewers. It's not a chip heavy weekend. It's at a weird time for everyone. Like it's what? It's probably 1 a.m. Oh my, I'm guessing you, if you're up now, that probably means, because that's like 1, 2 o'clock where you are, I'm guessing you probably slept in the afternoon or something. Rob P4, you and P5 in the League Analyzers Content Creator League. Yeah, let's have a look at the League Analyzers. Are we live? We were, and then it dropped. I think we're back though. But the stream, like I said, OBS will crash. OBS loves to crash. I think it's working though. We're back. But yeah, OBS loves to crash, and my computer is weak source. I think everything timer. That was always the one thing I miss. The timer. Subscriber count, yeah, it's just ticking along. But yeah, it was I knew it's just ticking along. But yeah, it was I knew it had dropped for a half second. As soon as I opened this window, the whole I don't know what it was, just cannot seem to work under pressure, this computer. So anyway, the F1 fantasy community have to be some of the most patient in the entire world. So I wanted to get this up because it is a really good chart. I think, who was it? Sammy pointed out the league analyzers in the F1 Fantasy League. So I am, my computer doesn't either. It's just like lots of data, I suppose, right? I don't know if anyone uses the league analyzer, but I find it's really fascinating to just trace how everyone goes over the course of the season. It's a bit hard to obviously see both at the same time, but I like to see, so like, where am I, right? My team 2, as always, does better than my team 1, but I'm 4, 6, 8, 5. These guys, F1 Fantasy Tools will pass me when they use a 3x, no problem there. And then further down, Ewan, Rain, like 4, 6, 2, 6 and 4, 6, 3, 5. They're like 50, 60 points behind me. I think easily, the 3x should easily clear 50 to 60 points, unless we have another Piastri mess like we did in Coda. What's Mike's rank in my league? Let's find out. I don't know where I track your team, Mike. I definitely track it in one of the leagues I have. Maybe it is mine. Let's see. Or is it the dirty side? I think it's the dirty side league, because what have I got in here? No. Why don't we search you, Mike? I think I've only got Luke in that one. So you're what? Yeah, Mike, you're what? 15 points ahead of me with the 3x, so you're crushing it now. League rank is 133, and I am what, like 270, I think, when I looked earlier today. Oh, 160, just behind, but you'll clear me pretty convincingly with the 3x. Anyway, that's the league analyzer. I won't spend too much time there, but if you want to use their premium features on F1 Fantasy Tools, Hub50 for 50% off your first month of their premium features. Details are in the description below. Raheem's in my I've saved his team as well in a couple of my leagues, because he's pretty much the benchmark. He's, I think, 200 in the world. He's smashing it. Like second last year, top 200 this year. Man's on another level. And to think that he had the Norris DNFs in both the Netherlands and in Canada, I mean, I did too, so he's crushing it. Yellow flag on the stream, BSC, 100p. This has been a pretty uneventful free practice. So what have we got so far? We got Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, George Russell, Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen. Pretty self-explanatory. What, hour into the stream, 29 likes, guys. Can we bump that up to just 50? 50 likes? It's not much. Just 50 would be nice. Only 76 viewers though. I'm so fine with a low view count because it's a chill Friday night and honestly, everyone's probably asleep. I wonder if people in Europe are waking up for the actual deadline in 2 hours or people just locking in their teams before they go to sleep. Because I do that for the UK, right? For Fantasy Premier League, like the deadline here is 6 a.m. most Saturday mornings, and so Lando's on a soft. Let's go, Lando. Get those likes up. This beautiful man is giving up his Friday night to hang out with us. Well, I'm doing it early, you, and I'm not fully out of the woods. I'm dipping in an hour to go see friends and have a few drinks. Actually, that's a great idea. I'm gonna crack a White Claw, and if you guys. Look, I'm just gonna bring the box. And we're going to tuck into the White Claw because it's a Friday night. And look, you've deserved a cold one if you're watching this stream. Doesn't that crisp crack sound good? That is a passion fruit White Claw. I brought the box around me. There's one more in the box, so let's have ourselves a last 60 minutes on stream. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. No shoey before anyone asks. No shoey at all. But yeah, Lando's on a soft, no risk. Cheers, Will. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna chill this weekend with my team. It feels nice, not to like force transfers. I will be like still online technically. It'll be like I'll be out later. I'll be checking my phone, so I'll be checking any late mail news. I won't be making my transfers until we get to like an hour before, 30 minutes before. Cheers, Devin. Vodka and Coke. Divine selection, my friend. You have to work tomorrow, Pingudo. I'm sorry. Doing God's work. I'm not doing God's work. I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe. I don't know, should I use autopilot this week? We will probably do a shoot for Abu Dhabi, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to stream on the day of because I will be... Where will I be? I'll be in Montana. I'm away for the next... I think of like the last 7 streams, I'm away for 6 of them. Oh, that was a little shaky from Lando. Yeah, I was away for Coda. What was the calendar, right? I was away for Coda. I was in Austin. I was in Austin for Austin. I was in New York for Mexico. I was in home. I was in Australia for Brazil. I'm in New York for Las Vegas. Well, Brazil tomorrow. Like I'll be in Brazil for the Grand Prix. I'll be in Brazil for Qatar, and then I'll be in Montana for Abu Dhabi. So, yeah, of the last 6, I'm in New York for one of them. So anyway, the content grind doesn't stop no matter where in the world I am. Track be slippy indeed. Hoping for a Piastri pole. I think Alexander. Sorry, I would love to see an Oscar Piastri pole. Do I see it happening? Probably not. And I'm okay with that. I've made peace with the fact that my favourite driver probably won't be winning the World Championship after leading for 15 races or so. So it hurts me to my core, but that's just how it's going to go. Oh, Lando is sliding like a seal all over the track in this soft tyre, and Oscar's out on a soft tyre as well. This is going to be fun. There is no grip at all. Rip it and grip it. So that, I guess that kind of means like it's not going to be helpful. Soft, medium, hard, intermediate doesn't really matter. Like these guys are, it's not really going to be helpful at all. I know, Mike. It's tough because I think like I love Oscar. He's I've never felt a kinship or the same level of patriotism to an athlete from my own country than I have with Oscar Piastri. And I think it's just because he's like so chill and he's so easygoing. And for someone who is like 24 years old, he's got, an incredible amount of maturity. And it's just, it's nice to see. I feel like proud to root for Oscar. So kind of why it's hard to see him have this lead completely like snatched away from him. Part of it because of him, part of it because of perhaps the car, part of it because of Lando driving exceptionally well and Max also driving exceptionally well. I'm not really going to get into the discussion of is McLaren favouring Lando. I think, not to get political or get too one-sided, I'd say there's maybe an element of that, but I think there are naturally going to be people in the chat online that will disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. I think everyone's entitled to have an opinion on that. But yeah, I fully expect Oscar will probably leave McLaren for 2027. I'm pretty confident in that. Like Lando will win the championship, McLaren, he will stay there forever. McLaren will continue to favour him. It'll be a Red Bull situation again. They will not want to bring in a driver that challenges Lando Norris for championships. It'll be someone who reliably scores points, like an Alex Albon or a Carlos Sainz or I don't know, maybe like a Hadjar or something. Not Hadjar, but you get the idea. Like they'll bring in an obvious number two that will not challenge Lando, so they don't have this same situation where they have to set a standard or a benchmark for how they manage drivers. Anyway, that's my little rant. And yeah, I agree, Mike. Like, I love Charles, I love Pierre. Like, they're probably my three favorite drivers on the grid: Oscar, Charles, Pierre. I've always liked Pierre, more just because of his personality than anything. But yeah, it's sad to see for Oscar. Ferrari, Red Bull, I think they're the two most obvious landing spots for him. Still have autopilot and no negative. Ben's asking which to use here: running McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Tsunoda, Hadjar, Sainz, Gasly. I'd probably go. Would you go no negative in Qatar because we got an extra session of racing? Maybe. Otherwise, I'd use it here. Well, I say use it here. Look, the argument against using no negative here is we've had 3 retirements in the last 2 years at this track. Despite the fact it is a street circuit, the track conditions or the track temperatures are quite low and the grip is not very high. There's been a surprising number of classified finishes. And so the argument to use no negative is probably not a high one at Las Vegas. But on the contrary, there's been a lot of drivers so far running off track. I think the track will dry up, warm up before we get to qualifying in 2 hours time, 3 hours time. But I'd probably use it here or Qatar just because of that extra racing session. I'm inclined to use the autopilot now, but I just think Lando will be strong here, and Lando will be strong in Qatar, and Lando will be strong in Abu Dhabi. So even if I use it, I don't think it's going to do anything for me. More rain on the broadcast, you and saying. So I'm a couple minutes behind the chat, but I'm keeping tabs, thankfully, because there's only 80 of us hanging out. Let's get to 50 likes before 8:15. 8 minutes. Can we get 7 likes in 8 minutes? I think we can. Rush hour on the strip. Here we go. I feel like Piastri's mental is off since that pit stop stuff. Definitely like McLaren favours Lando. I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's hard. Oh, that was close. Holy crap. Lewis spot. Who did he collide with? Was that a Racing Bulls? I didn't even see. If I was to make transfers now, Pulse, it would be Bortoletto out, Ocon in. Exactly what I got on screen. I really don't see anything in the next 20 minutes changing my decision at all. Like there's no Aston Martin times, no Gasly time, no Hulkenberg time. Colapinto's yet to set a time. Bortoletto's 16 seconds off the pace. Yeah, I'm taking Bortoletto out. I don't think he's going to be very good here. Sorry, I've also had the statistics page on screen the entire 20 minutes of that rambling, but I'm going to move it back to my team. Sorry. Pierre to McLaren? I mean, that's a great question. I honestly thought Pierre was going to go to McLaren before the whole Oscar schmozzle 2-3 years ago. 2 years ago? Yeah, it was a Racing Bulls. That was almost it. I honestly thought Gasly was a sure shot then when he was kind of weighing up where the next move was after Toro Rosso. What was it called? AlphaTauri? So, yeah, I don't know. I think Alpine's kind of Gasly's home. You wouldn't leave next year, obviously, because they've got a Mercedes power unit. I think they'll vault up. They'll probably be 7th, maybe 8th in the standings. I think Haas probably take a step back next year. I think Cadillac will be at the back next year. I think Audi will probably be at the back next year as well. So, yeah, I think Alpine are probably 8th, 9th next year. Wait. Yeah. So 11 teams, not 12 teams. But I think Alpine are definitely ahead of those two Ferrari back teams. But yeah, I don't really see Gasly going anywhere. No spots on the grid for the foreseeable. But I'd love to see him at a better team, just to he's not over the hump. What is he, 28 years old? He's not young. So he's not old. I'd say he could go for another 6-7 years if he really wanted to. Poor Yuki. I don't know where. Where does Yuki end up next year? First pole? Let's do that. Where does Yuki Tsunoda end up next year? Red Bull, Racing Bulls. Out of the sport. I think Yuki's the most interesting one. I genuinely think he probably doesn't have a seat next year. I would have loved to have seen him at Alpine with Pierre, right? Because him and Pierre had such a good rapport at AlphaTauri. I mean, it wasn't a championship winning car, but realistically would have, I think, sure, the Alpine brass are going to go for Colapinto because he brings all that money with Mercado Libre, but it's night and day between Tsunoda and Colapinto. Maybe it's just my underlying disdain and frustrations and dislike of Colapinto. I just don't know if I'm his biggest fan because he doesn't. I don't know. I just don't think he's a very good driver. And any Argentinians in the chat are probably going to come to my head now that I've said that. I just think Yuki was by far and away the better option of the two. There was a period, I think, where there were rumors where Tsunoda was going to Alpine, but I think it was always going to be Colapinto's seat. But yeah, most people, 64% are saying of the 28 votes, Yuki's out next year. It'll be Lindblad in Racing Bulls. It'll be Hadjar at Red Bull. It'll be Lawson in his seat still. Lawson's nothing special either. I think Yuki's a better driver than Liam Lawson too. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. How do I hide that? Okay. Could Bortoletto to Hadjar be a potential move? Alexander Tendon's asking. 100%. Yeah, I think that's a great move. Hi Rob, when should I use Limitless and 3X? I'd be using Limitless in Qatar, and I'd probably use the 3X in. I'd use the 3X in Abu Dhabi because we don't really have much to go off in practice here, and you kind of want to be using those powerful chips with as much information as possible. Yuki's going home. Is Yuki going back to Japanese Super Formula? Maybe. I would have said Aston Martin Reserve, but I believe they gave that to Jack Crawford. I think they did too, Ewan. I just don't see Yuki staying in the Red Bull fold. Does he take a reserve driver role somewhere else? He's only ever known one team in Formula One, right? In the formulas. But does he take a reserve driver role at Alpine? Probably not. I mean, you'd think naturally Aston Martin because of the Honda connection. I mean, maybe he still goes there. Like, could they take on multiple reserve drivers? Like, is it Alpine that have like a flock of, or a stable of like 7 drivers? Red Bull do as well. Like, I mean, yeah, agreed, Alex, 100%. I think like the Honda connection makes the most sense. Yuki's up there, but he's a second and a half off Lewis Hamilton. Like, how unhelpful are these times, right? In free practice, we've got 17 minutes to go. Yuki Tsunoda is P3, but he's 1.5 seconds off P1. Or maybe, Mike, I'm behind on the broadcast. Yeah, I could be a minute or 2 behind on the broadcast if Lewis is P1 and Yuki's P3. Colapinto, yeah. Get out Piastri and keep Norris for this week, Austin. Yeah, I definitely do that. You're not wrong, Mike. I think definitely Yuki's been in the sport probably longer than many people give him credit for. Oh no, stream's battling a bit. Team 2 strategy? Oh yeah, William, of course you'd want to know. Oh, I hadn't even thought about my other teams. The stream is struggling, so we could be in for another crash. Yeah, I think you are ahead. Mike. All right, so Team 2, William's asking for my Team 2 because it's ranked like 300 in the world or something. Are you taking any questions? Yeah, I am. King's Landing, I saw your question. Don't worry, I'm getting to it. Don't worry. I'm catching up on some other questions, but I will absolutely answer your wildcard question in just a second. I have 2 transfers for pretty much a similar team for Team 2. Like, William, for your question, like, what do I do with this? There's not a lot to do. I'll probably, because I don't even know what chips I have on this team. I don't think I have any chips. What? Did I just got autopilot. And then this one, Team 3, I think I have the 3X to use in Qatar. Yeah. So... Sorry, yeah. No, I've seen your question. Don't worry. Apologies. William, to answer your question, I probably will just make one move this week, and it'll most likely be... I can't get to Behrman, can I? I'd love to have Behrman in just one team. Like, if I put Behrman in here, I can't get anyone else. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, William. Okay, question. King's Landing. I have a wild card and 3x left. Current team is Norris, Russell, Behrman, Alonso, Bortoleto, McLaren, Mercedes. 2 transfers and 138.8. What do you suggest for... I assume you mean Las Vegas and the next one. Great question. Okay, let me put my team on screen. I'm going to have a sip of this and then we'll get... So the funny thing is, King's Landing, you've got probably the perfect team for this kind of weekend. You got Norris, you got McLaren, you got Mercedes, you got as much money as I do. You got Behrman already. I'd probably take out Bortoleto, right? Depending on how much money you've got left over, I'd probably go Russell on for purple sector and sector 1. I'd take Bortoleto out for maybe an Ocon, and then yeah, this would be my strategy, King's Landing. I would use 1 transfer here, right? Roll a 3rd transfer into Qatar. Use the 3 transfers to react to free practice and sprint qualifying to ensure you have the best combination of drivers for your 3X chip. And then as soon as you get to Abu Dhabi, I would plug that wild card. I've actually saved the wild card 2 seasons ago. I used it in the very last race of the season, and I used that and just took a bunch of differentials. I think I took a -20 or whatever the equivalent was. I took 2 transfer hits. I just went a little differential to make up a bit more rank in that last race. I think I finished in around the top 2K or something like that. So I would I would use the wild card in the last race of the season and then roll a transfer into Qatar. Hopefully that answers your question. Too soon for Team 2. William, I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, Bortolotto out for Gasly, perfect, and then just roll it through. Yeah, I think Gasly or Ocon at that price. Now, great segue. Someone asked about Esteban Ocon, and the question was, Pulse. Sorry if you've said this already, but what is the reasoning behind Esteban Ocon? Is Haas meant to perform on this track? I don't know if they're meant to perform on this track. The reason I've got Ocon is because I think he's got just as much potential to score as Oliver Behrman, if not even a bit more, because Ocon is an experienced driver around here. Ocon, like, qualifying pace as well is not great for Haas, but I think their race pace is much more competitive. Okay, where's the chart I'm looking for? Where's the chart I'm looking for? They usually have two. Did I not? Okay, the stream's gone again. Stream's gone again. Unbelievable. Okay, so we don't have race simulation. The stream's cooked. I'm just gonna like not move the cursor. Yeah, okay, we got 10 minutes. I'm gonna lock into free practice so we can talk about the timing charts. To answer your question on the Haas driver. All right, Ewan, good luck. Thanks for coming through, my man. I'll send plenty of viewers your way. You're getting locked in. You're 40 minutes out from starting the stream. Damn. I lock in with about 10 minutes, which is why my streams are so busted. And the stream is dead again. We love to see it, ladies and gentlemen. If it recovers, which it seems like it is, the argument for Haas, to get to the question asked, was Esteban Ocon is usually good for Q1 exit every couple of races. I think the race pace is good, but the quali pace is not so good for the Haas car. So by that logic, they usually qualify further back with their race pace, be able to make it further up the grid. And both drivers have demonstrated they can make a number of overtakes. So I think, like, if you can't get to Behrman in one move, which would have been my preference if I could afford him, then I would have gone there, but I'm not, and I want to roll a transfer into Qatar, so I'm going to just move in Ocon instead and just hope he doesn't DNF. Okay. Gillen is asking, which is better, Piastri and Antonelli with McLaren and Mercedes, or Max and Norris with McLaren and a B tier? Appreciate ya. I think Max and Norris with a McLaren and a B tier. I think Dylan, with your budget, which is so fair, I would stick with a B tier driver that's good for overtakes. And my mind immediately defaults to Haas and Racing Bulls. Again, appreciate I have not looked at the simulations. Or even Williams potentially, but it's pretty even between these three teams in the bottom right. I'll move it up a bit. Like the best three B tier constructors are all separated by a few points. I mean, Alpine. I'd probably go V-Carb, Williams, or Haas. The stream is really struggling tonight. Really struggling. Yeah, I think if you're using the 3X in Qatar, Dylan, I would just go for a B tier constructor and then keep Max and Norris because they're transfers that you'll ultimately have to make in Qatar anyway. You don't want to be making -10s, -20s next week if you're having to back them out this week. Austin, yeah, let me find your question, mate. Sorry, I must have missed it. Austin's question was, get out Piastri and keep Norris? Yeah, I'd keep Norris. Yeah, I'd get out Piastri as well. Sainz over Ocon, in my opinion. I'd go Sainz probably. I still think Williams are going to be good. I think Williams will be good. Holding wildcard on team 1 and 3x. Wow, William, you're really set up. Yeah, I think if you got wildcard, use it in the last race and go punt on some differentials. Alright. 90 viewers, 50 likes. Nice, we're over that 50% viewer to like ratio. I would not be bringing in the Alpine Constructor. I would not be bringing in the Alpine Constructor. I'd be taking B-Carb if you can. Mr. Anderson, 4th place in his league with first place wins a VIP trip with McLaren. Please help. I got Verstappen, Russell, Alonso, Bam, and Gasly. Your constructors, I'm assuming, a Mercedes McLaren. In which case, So we're up for 6 minutes. Yeah, McLaren are nowhere. Wow, McLaren really are nowhere. Alright, I got some decisions to make in a bit. Norris is really slow on the soft tyre. Both McLarens are. And like this Ferrari pace. Oh my god, why do they do this to us? Why do they do this to us? Just when I'm so sad, I honestly think I'm going to stick with Ocon, like my one transfer and roll. I think it'll be fine. Ocon versus Hadjar. Probably Hadjar. Then why am I going Ocon? Why am I going Ocon? I honestly think... I'm getting cold feet on Ocon. I'm going to put it... I might go Hadjar. The pace looks good there too. I don't know. See how quickly decisions can change on a dime. It's just I'm looking at I'm looking at the timing charts. Like Hadjar is 6th, Ocon is 18th. Yes, there's obviously an argument that single lap pace is not good for Haas, and they'll make gains in positions. They'll make the odd overtake if they're on alternating tyre strategies, DNS, whatever it might be. I think, I don't know. Austin, I think it's a tight one. Austin, I think, I think I answered that. Hadjar, Ocon. Yeah. I think, I don't see a world in which I'm ditching Norris. Like, I'd be very surprised if he's outside the top 4 in qualifying, and I'm okay with that, because if Lando puts in, if he gets a fast lap in before the end of the session, right, but he's not like top 4, then I'm inclined to activate the autopilot, because George is right up there at the moment. It'll be insurance against Lando, even though I fully expect him to be on the podium at the end of the weekend. If for whatever reason he has a stinker, then I've got that autopilot insurance. I don't think Ferrari is there for me to make a decision. I don't think they're forcing me to make a decision. I'm very okay with Mercedes. George is top 3. Antonelli is like right there as well. I'm okay with holding. Mr. Anderson, I thought I answered your question. Did I not? Oh, you have Mercedes Red Bull. Got it. Thinking swap Alonso 2x on Russell. Yes, I would. Yeah, Russell's top. Then I'm probably locked on autopilot, which I'm so okay with. Max, super. Albon's top now. Like, we love to see this. The track's really coming in at the right time. Max is on 2 consecutive purple sectors, so he's going to go to the top of the charts. He's, 7/10 down. Oliver Behrman's now 4th. Wow, things are moving. Things are really starting to move. Yeah. Things are really starting to shake out. Max is 14 seconds away on my video, which is probably a bit further behind where you guys are. But he is on a purple... Yeah, he should go top here. Yeah, Max is soaring. Just give... Yeah, we're We're in pure dry conditions right now. All right, back to the questions in the chat. I'm gonna close the poll because that Sonoda question was a while ago. Okay. No, sorry, I had a team question to answer that. Autopilot and extra DRS left of chips. I have Russ Verstappen. Do I use Autopilot? I think Autopilot now and then 3X in Qatar. Replacement for Bortoletto other than Behrman, 11 million to work with. I would probably go... I want to say Racing Bulls. Yeah, I'm assuming there's only one trade you can use, right? Devon. It's kind of funny because it's like Albon and Sonoda, and then everyone else is pretty much under like 9 million. 8 million. Sainz, I think. Like, where's Williams at the moment? Sainz is like 11th, so nothing crazy. Lawson and Sonoda are both on for personal bests. Piastri and Bortoletto into Antonelli, Behrman, Ocon. I think that looks good. Big Camo. Although I just saw you had another question. Okay, a couple of questions coming in, so I got to get through them much faster than I do now. I think I'm kind of like Ocon's dead last. Like, that's not bad. Like, that's, I mean, to be fair, the McLarens are both going to be, I don't think they're going, yeah, McLaren are not going, like, they're both dead last. They're sandbagging, surely. Oh, lock up for Bortoletto. McLaren are definitely saving tyres. I also, there's a yellow flag on track. Oh no, it's fine now. I think it was just a lock up. George Russell on for 2 consecutive purple sectors. The track's really looking good here. Ocon P20, like, honestly, it's maybe not the worst thing. Like, maybe I'm getting in my head. Like, even if Ocon goes up 5 spots, right? The thing is, he's due a DNF. That's what I don't like about it. Ocon is definitely due a DNF because he's been in such great form for such a long time. It's only a matter of time until this like streak of classified finishes ends. Russell goes top. Autopilot chip is locked in. I'm like so set on using the autopilot chip. I'm so using the autopilot chip this weekend. McLaren dominance may bore fans. Verstappen's off, so that rules out any chance of him taking the fastest lap in practice. 5 seconds penalty for that comment, Rob. Which comment, Mike? McLaren dominance will bore fans, maybe. They should give 20 extra minutes to compensate for what happened yesterday. They should, honestly. Honestly, I might take a -10 for the drain cover at 4.5 million. Points per million, excellent. Number of retirements, infinite. Oh, Ocon, yeah. Oh, right, yeah, of course, Ocon, of course, 5 second penalty, yeah. But I don't know, like, Ocon will be out. Like, I'm so sure he'll be out in Q1. If he's, what, 18th? Do they give him a pit lane start? I still use autopilot this week, to be honest, Austin. I still think, yeah, like Ocon is a Q1 exit waiting to happen. Potential pit lane start if he's already that far back because of how much the track evolves and how many overtakes there are to make. Drives to what, 13th? It's what, 7 positions gain, 5, 6, 7 overtakes. 14 points. Thanks for coming. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I say play for points. Yes, Hadjar, if he's a Q3 appearance, which he probably is, to be honest, because we know how good he is in qualifying. 13 Q3 appearances in 21 races this season. I just think if he again sits like... Okay, now I want to look at... let's do some analytics. So Hadjar, right? Let's go qualifying. Okay. Hadjar, who averages a Q3 appearance across the season at 10.0 average qualifying. 11 points. in China on a sprint. 8 points in Japan. 6 points. -16. I'm only looking at, I guess for Hadjar, I'm only looking at the races that he's qualified Q3 and what he's come away with. -7 on a sprint. I guess because he lost a bunch there. Netherlands, we know he podiumed there, but again, like not easy to overtake at unless it's raining. 4 points when he qualified P8. 3 points when he qualified P8. -2 points when he qualified P9. So I think Hadjar, 13 points on a sprint though. I guess that's nothing crazy. I guess the point I'm trying to make is Hadjar's biggest. Let's look at his fantasy points. Like aside from the Netherlands, which we obviously know how well he did there. Where are we looking at his high scores? 16 points in Spain. I guess he qualified some way down the order, but yeah, he made overtakes. I guess the overtakes is what I'm seeing. 12 points, 9 positions gained, 10th place. So like again, his 12 points came from starting further back. By Ocon, right? His pit lane start 17 in Brazil, 8 positions gained, 10th place in the Netherlands. Right, yeah, 7 positions gained. So like Ocon, the point I'm trying to make is, if it hasn't already become apparent, like the points on offer are so much more for people that start at the back, and maybe that's why I'm overthinking. I should just go Ocon. I'm saying pure points. The points are when you start further back, not when you qualify up and don't really make many positions. Anyway, enough of a tangent. George Russell tops free practice 3, Max Verstappen 2nd, Albon 3rd, Hadjar 4th. But you look at the deltas, right? Besides Max and George, everyone was 8/10 or more off. Albon was 8/10 off in his 3rd. Like that's again pretty useless information to me. Both the McLarens last, like that's useless. It just again tells me that it's a 1 transfer week for me. I think it will be Ocon in, autopilot chip active. That's pretty much it. 169 viewers. So we're ramping up with viewers as we get closer to the deadline. 25 minutes or so you've got me for, and then I'm going to send you all over to Ewan for more F1 fantasy content. Austin, yeah, autopilot now for sure. Should I autopilot Piastri with Antonelli? Yeah, why not? Big karma. Why not? I think that's perfectly fine. You're probably going to want Piastri in Qatar. Mazlumkaya, sorry if I mispronounced that. Give me suggestions for my team. Scroll up for info. I will scroll up for info. Where's your team? You skipped my question. I did. I'm finding it. Cold Hugh, sorry, I'll answer your question. Max Antonelli, Behrman, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes, 0.5 in the bank. I would probably take out Alonso. Yeah, I'd probably take out Alonso, honestly. Or Gasly. I can't find your question. If I've missed your question, can you please put it in the chat again? Sorry, I can't find it. I've scrolled. You said you skipped my question. I can't find it. Is it really? It's really far back. Oh, here we go. Rob, I have 133 million budget and 3 free transfers with this lineup. Mazlum Kaya 2759. Norris, Russell, Alonso, Gasly, Colapinto, McLaren, Mercedes. Suggestions. 3 transfers. I would probably move out Colapinto and move out Alonso. So let's just make this. So this is your team, right? Colapinto and Alonso. And you've got how much? I don't think I'm going to 133. So you've got pretty much like no spare cash. So I think like you stick with this team. I would probably activate autopilot. The only potential move I see you could make would be to downgrade Russell, drop in Antonelli, and upgrade like a Colapinto to, so you've got like 5 million, so 11 to like a Behrman potentially. Like that's the only realistic move I would say you could make, but I think I prefer the the Russell Colapinto, to be honest. If you've got any spare cash, maybe consider moving. Could you get from like Alonso to Hadjar? I wouldn't mind that, but like there's not much else you can do given you've got the lowest priced back markers. But yeah. All right, back to the questions. What happened to Norris? Norris was on for was on for purple sectors and then he boxed on the last sector. Verstappen or Norris? Norris. Thank you, Mike. Tell you what, Mike, you don't have to do anything, but I'm gonna. Make you a mod, Mike. Whether or not you want to, you've been given the honor and the power. Do with those powers what you will, Mike. But if you want to, you can. I can take. If anyone else wants to be a mod, feel free. I'm happy to like chop and change with every single stream. I guess it makes the chat more engaging, I suppose. So autopilot then with Russell and Norris. I thought we have another sprint coming up. We do, but I think Norris will be light years ahead of George Russell in Qatar. So I just don't think there's a real need to use the autopilot then, Austin. Norris or Verstappen to pair with Russell this weekend. Verstappen looks very quick. I think Max and Lando will be both very fast, but I'm okay with using the autopilot and not have Max because I know it'll be a transfer back. He'll be a transfer out of my team probably in Qatar. And I want 3 transfers to know if Max or Oscar is that next best driver to pair with Lando then. Currently have triple McLaren with Mercedes constructor, Bortoleto, Alonso, Sainz, B2 drivers. Any advice? Grant, I would move out Bortoleto and probably bring in like an Ocon or a Hadjar. I was pondering to use wildcard now and get Norris Verstappen or go with your suggestions. I'd go Norris Verstappen if you can afford it with McLaren and Mercedes. Ruth Buscombe saying issues with McLaren cars. Okay. Is Max in my mind? He is, but I think I'm okay not having him this week because I'm using the autopilot chip. I'm 99% locked on autopilot now with Bortoleto out and Sainz in. Yeah, I think my team will probably be this. McLaren just didn't seem to look good on the softs. Like, I really want to believe that McLaren are fine. I want to believe that I want to believe, sorry, I'm just checking a message. I want to believe that McLaren times in free practice 3 are a red herring. It's just a one-off. Anyway, I'm going to keep eyes on this McLaren situation in the next 2 hours because I just don't think there's going to be enough to persuade me to move away from Lando and McLaren. Like, theoretically, I could do that, right? Which would then mean I could do Behrman. But it makes it harder for me in Qatar. If I go this now, I'll only have 2 transfers. And what if I want triple McLaren then? Like, one, I can't get to that, so I would need to downgrade that. To get in Oscar, that would be a -10 right there. It just doesn't make sense for my team. In no way does it make sense for my team to get him. If I've got the autopilot, even if Max is the highest scoring driver, which is understandable, it's not going to be that high. Like, Max's ceiling in Vegas, if he qualifies on pole and wins the race, it kind of stays there, 35-ish points, assuming no driver of the day and assuming no fastest lap. Max's probably scoring 35 to 40 points. Probably. If George finishes close to George might win. He won here last year. Like, don't rule anything out. And autopilot means that I can have the 2x on Lando, and if George outscores Lando, if Lando botches qualifying, then wonderful. My autopilot works. But I'm genuinely okay with not going max this weekend. And I think it's because I have the autopilot as my insurance policy. Hadjar or Sainz? Sainz. But Verstappen looks like a good differential. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think if you want to play the odds and the points upside, Max is probably the guy right now. But we didn't really have a yardstick for McLaren. They've just not been anywhere these 3 practice sessions. So it feels weird. It doesn't feel like a proactive F1 fantasy manager saying, don't do anything with McLaren, even though they've been absolutely nowhere in practice. Like, that doesn't seem... Anyway. Doesn't seem like the most prudent approach is what I'm trying to say. Carlos is thinking Bortoleto, Hadjar, and considering Verstappen, Norris. I mean, Verstappen, Norris, Verstappen doesn't... I don't think it makes too much of a difference, but I think Bortoleto to Hadjar looks good. Sticking with Lando and McLaren, but FP3 has thinking crazy thoughts. I agree. Ferrari, honestly... Like, what's the... I don't know if there's going to be free practice sims. They might well be, because Ryder, however you say it, is based in Australia, which is... It's 12:45 p.m. in Australia, so middle of the day. What am I looking for here? I'm looking for this. Laura Winter is saying it's literally becoming virtually impossible to predict. I couldn't agree more. So, like, why kind of go against the grain? Everything beyond Max and George is completely obsolete to me. Ferrari is nowhere. Like, where's Leclerc? Where's Leclerc? He's all the way down. I thought, oh. So, like, I just don't think there's a lot to go off here. Thinking to drop McLaren and pick up Ferrari, thoughts? Crazy. Probably crazy. I think everyone will want McLaren next weekend. I'm so certain of it. So if you take McLaren out, you're pretty much booking in a transfer for next week. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Passion fruit White Claw on a Friday night. Life could not be getting any better than sitting on my computer at home drinking adult beverages. I've got about 15 to 20 minutes until the stream wraps. If we can get to 100 likes, that would be wonderful. We've got 250 of you in the stream here. I'm honestly, like, Friday nights, and that wasn't meant to be sarcastic at all. This is a great way to start a Friday night. I'm going to take my headphones out because I'm not watching free practice anymore. But yeah, great way to kickstart a Friday night. I've got a night out on the town planned. It's 8:45 p.m. here. So as soon as this stream wraps up, I'm scooting through the bar. Sounds of change. Actually, there were questions I've missed, and I do apologize. Brian P asked, Piastri or Leclerc? Piastri. I don't say that with a lot of confidence. Why not Russell? I would go Russell over those two, Brian P. Autopilot in Saudi? You mean Qatar or do you mean Abu Dhabi, Carmo? I think autopilot in both are fine though. Richard Creek, Verstappen, Russell, Ocon, or Verstappen, Antonelli, Behrman? Verstappen, Russell, Ocon, I would say. Tyler is asking, keep Alonso and bank a third transfer for Qatar or swapping to Gasly? I would say, if you've used a 3X chip, probably, if you're planning for the 3X chip, I'd roll a transfer, to be honest. If you haven't, you could probably take him out. Is Max in my mind? No, he's not on my mind. But I think Verstappen is still a great pick for this weekend. I still think he's a top 2 F1 fantasy scoring driver, for sure. He won here in 2023, so like that counts for something, right? Leclerc topped FP1 and he was third in FP2. Mean anything? It means something, but like not enough to convince me, honestly. Verstappen and Russell currently on my team. Should I hold? Yes, I think that's perfectly fine. Miguel, my man, you're in the chat, as always. One of the OGs, who I actually saw, funnily enough, at Las Vegas last year. Fond memories, Miguel. Zakaka, Norris, Antonelli, Gasly, Sainz, Tsunoda, McLaren, Mercedes, 5.9 in the bank. 3x next week, and I have a 140 point gap to P1 in the league. So yeah, you got to definitely use the 3x next week. I would probably. Can you? I don't think you could get to like Russell, and if you downgraded Tsunoda and Antonelli to like a Russell, you could stick with that honestly. 5.9. Oh no, with 5.9 Zakaka, could you upgrade Antonelli to Russell and downgrade Tsunoda to like an Alonso, a Hadjar, a Colapinto? Yeah, I know. McLaren, honestly, I genuinely don't think we should be reading too much into P19 and P20 and FP3. Like, literally nothing. Like, do not let that affect your decision making at all. Like, it's not representative in the slightest. Lando was on for a top time until he bailed out on the third sector. He had, I think, keep me honest in the chat here, I'm pretty sure Lando had purple sectors in sectors 1 and 2 before he bailed on sector 3. So, I'm not worried in the slightest. They will both be in Q3, mark my words. Behrman or Sainz. I think Behrman's a safer asset for this week, but I think Sainz probably can score more. Miguel, where was your question? Just catching up after a 12-hour workday. Man, grind don't stop, hey? What happened to Piastri and Norris? They just didn't set fast laps, and for the first 3/4 of the session, the track was still pretty slippery. So no one until like with 20 minutes remaining got in any meaningful lap times. Just do not, like 3 seconds off the pace. Do not read anything into the McLaren times. Thoughts on a triple Mercedes guy? I don't mind it, honestly. For like those low budget teams, if you can go triple Mercedes, like I'd say a triple Mercedes team is probably what, people under 125. Assuming you've got McLaren in there as well, perfectly fine for the budget you've got. Get rid of Frosty Pastry. Get rid of Bortoletto or Alonso and sub in Hadjar or Lawson. Get rid of Bortoletto and sub in Hadjar. Frosty Pastry. FPL Hayden. Considering 4 transfers from -10, Max, Leclerc, Bortoletto and Red Bull to Lando, Russell, Ocon and Mercedes. I will do the last 3 moves and keep Max. So would you go Lando -10 or keep Max? Great question. I would probably keep Max. I would get rid of Leclerc, Bortoletto, Red Bull, and move in Russell, Ocon, Mercedes. I think that's perfectly fine. Worth it to eat a -10 to get Russell in with Norris? Well, it depends what your other transfers are, Billy Fallon, but I'd say if it's an upgrade over 4 midfield drivers, absolutely. Ocon or Sainz? Devin, who's been very active in the chat tonight, love to see it. Antonelli, Bortoletto to Russell, Colapinto or roller transfer. I do the Russell, Colapinto, and then 3x in Qatar. Hayden Fong, missed FP. What happened to McLaren? They just didn't run a proper. They just didn't push properly in practice. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Bruno, good to have you in, man. Good to have you in. Bruno Alves, former number 2 in 2023. I could be wrong. Pretty sure Bruno came second. So one of the goats in F1 Fantasy. Shout out to Bruno. I have both Lando, Max, and McLaren, Mercedes. Who to use for the 2x? Tricky one. Max probably. Kind of more of a sure thing. But like, what did Max have in FP2? Right? He wasn't even in top 3, was he? Like Max was. The thing is, like Max was nowhere in FP. The thing is, like, when you see 10, 12 drivers within 6/10 of the top time, you know that's a pretty representative session, right? And then you go to FP3. Like, the thing is, and understandably, why can't I see FP3? Like, I get it's going to show or paint a picture, but like, if you look at the single lap times, everyone beyond the first 2 drivers were outside 8/10. Like, that's just not indicative at all of performance for Ferrari, for Antonelli, for McLaren. I'm not too stressed, honestly. Norris and Piastri or Norris and Russell? this week, Norris Russell. That is for Indigo Perez. King's Landing. I've answered a few of your questions, but I don't know if... I was pondering to use wildcard now and to get Verstappen, Norris, or go with your suggestions. Get Norris, Verstappen. Get Norris, Verstappen. If you can afford it with McLaren, Mercedes, I'd absolutely go Norris, Verstappen. Ladouille. Chips. Final fix, 3x autopilot. Autopilot this week, 3x next week. Final fix in Abu Dhabi. 129.6 with Verstappen, Stroll, Behrman, Tsunoda, Bortoleto, RB, Ferrari. What should I do? I would probably keep Verstappen. Can you get up to McLaren? If you can't, I would probably downgrade Tsunoda, and I would probably... Is it RB as in Red Bull, right? It would have to be, right? Yeah. So, that's a tricky one, man. I'd actually almost use the final fix as this. Like, I'd use the final... You don't need to use the autopilot this week because you've only got one A-tier driver. So my suggestion would be to use the final fix as like an extra transfer, almost like a fourth transfer post-quali. I've got like 5 to 10 minutes on the stream. So, yeah. I'd use the final fix as a transfer. With your team, I would probably target McLaren. If you can move out Ferrari, I'd keep Red Bull. Assuming RB, you mean Red Bull and not Racing Bulls. I would move out Ferrari, upgrade them to McLaren. So that means you got to find 5 million. So I'd downgrade Tsunoda to, what's Tsunoda like? 11, right? Okay, this is going to be far out. This team is literally so different to mine. But the constructors are Red Bull, Ferrari, Verstappen, Behrman, Tsunoda, Bortoleto, and Stroll. Quite an interesting team. So let's assume you've got no cash in the bank. You got 11 points. So yeah. So I would be taking out Ferrari. I would move them into McLaren. So you need to find 4 million somewhere. In 2 moves, I'd consider dropping Tsunoda to like a Hadjar or an Ocon. I'd do Hadjar or Ocon potentially. And then I'd use the final fix on... Actually, no, I wouldn't. Who did I just take out? Well, you kind of have to take out Tsunoda. That's a problem. So yeah, I'd take out Tsunoda. I'd put in Hadjar, and then I'd use the final fix because Bortoleto and Stroll are likely going down in value. So I would probably use the final fix as like that extra transfer, or you got to get... I don't think you can afford, can you? You could actually. Could you do something like this? So that'd be a -10. And then use the final fix. Could you like final fix in like Ocon maybe? I don't know. You'd probably want to use the final fix as like an extra transfer this week. But I would get McLaren in as a priority transfer and take out Ferrari. Or Ladouille, however you say that. Should I save 3 transfers for Qatar? I absolutely will be doing that myself, Igor, so consider doing that the same. Are you thinking George or Charles? I'm going George this week. 126.8 going McLaren, Mercedes, Verstappen and Antonelli. Great idea, Hassan. Bortoleto for Gasly or Hadjar or something else. I'd probably go Hadjar. I think he's got slightly more upside than Gasly this weekend. Verstappen, Russell, or Norris? Who would you have as your top 2? Verstappen, Norris this week. For me, it's probably like Verstappen, Norris, Russell. So yeah, I need to tell you what. Let's lock in my transfers for my other teams. Team 3. 3 transfers. I really want to think this out though. Okay, so I haven't got. So no, I need to keep Lando Norris because for this team I have the 3x I need to use in Qatar. Maybe I take Gasly out because Colapinto is not going to go down in value, so he's a fine to hold. Hadjar in. Let's have some fun with it then. 5.2. I can't really do anything, can I? Value. There's not much I can do. I can't do anything. I literally can't do anything. It's the same team I just had. Alright. Team 2, I'm going to have to figure out what to do with as well. Do I go Red Bull in team 3 maybe? I'm going to talk about team 2 and I'm going to just look at team 2 and 3 offline because you guys are just interested in my team 1 and I'm interested in your team 1s. Vodka coats are to blame for the activity. Well, look, if you're, like I said, if you're, I'm going to have to dip in like 5 minutes, but if you guys are having a Friday night, or you could be in Australia, somewhere in Asia, 5 o'clock somewhere, crack open a drink with me and celebrate the weekend. King's Landing has Norris, Russell, Verstappen, Behrman, Alonso. I think I've answered your question like 3 times, King's Landing. I would just switch Bortoletto out with Gasly and carry a free transfer and use the 3x in Qatar. Downgrade Russell to Antonelli to get out Alonso and Colapinto. Yeah, sounds good to me. I think Russell could easily explode here as well. Do you think it's worth going from Russell Piastri to Norris Antonelli? I also have... Yeah, I think so, Pan done. Especially, yeah, I'd say so. I'm now thinking Bortoletto to Ocon and Ross so I can have 3x next week. I have Norris, Piastri, McLaren, Mercedes. I can go Verstappen next week. Carmo, yeah, 100% you should. I'm rolling. I don't even have 3x next week. Are we thinking George or Charles? George, sounds have changed. Verstappen, I've got a bit of catching up to do in the chat. Lado, sorry, mate. Okay, I'm going to race through these questions. Christoph, dropping McLaren to Ferrari for Lando and Verstappen. And then Ferrari and Mercedes. I wouldn't drop McLaren. Norris, Russell, Behrman, Alonso, Gasly, or Norris, Verstappen, Alonso, Gasly, Colapinto. Norris, Verstappen, for sure. Have you got any tips before you go? I think your team looks great, Hayden. Definitely. Nabadeep back again as usual. Another OG in the chat. Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Behrman, Bortoletto, McLaren, Mercedes. 3x and using Qatar. Will it be wrong to move from Leclerc and Bortoletto to Antonelli and Albon for Vegas? No, it's not wrong at all. I'd probably go Russell if you can though. Why? If you've got Leclerc, I'd go Russell and Bortoletto to... Sorry, Leclerc and Bortoletto to Russell and whoever. Like a Behrman. You've got Behrman. Like a Ocon potentially. Hannah has got Norris, Antonelli, Alonso, Bortoletto, Behrman, McLaren, Aston Martin, 2 transfers. Swap Bortoletto for Hadjar and AM for V-Carb. I have 3x and wildcard. I use the wildcard, Hannah. I would move out Aston Martin. I would move out Bortoletto. I would move out Norris for Verstappen. Oh, if you've got the 3x, then you want to keep Norris. I'd probably use the wild card to be honest, and get rid of Alonso, Bortoletto, Aston Martin, and probably upgrade Aston Martin to a V-Carb or a Williams, and see if you can upgrade Antonelli to another premium driver, if you can. Tyler has 3x and final fix left, but has a Lando and Kimi team. Guessing you'd recommend waiting until Abu Dhabi for final fix? Yes, or use it as an extra transfer if you don't have enough this week. Your T3 is my exact team. I think it's quite a few teams. Verstappen, Antonelli, or go rogue with Russell, Hamilton. Verstappen, Antonelli for sure. Since FP3 was useless, going with limiting budget and damage, rolling a transfer, so I have money in 3 transfers to Qatar, mate. You got it, Michael. Milk first gang. 200 likes, 200 viewers, 100 likes. If we can get that to like 150, that'd be super. If you can subscribe as well, like we're getting close to 9,600. I get to 9,550 for the stream. That'd be awesome. Have I like not closed the poll? Sorry, I thought I did. No, the chat's just not updating. That's ridiculous. The chat is soaring. I think it's got a bit of catching up to do. Anyway, so yeah, couple minutes left and I'll wrap it up. Is this your deadline stream? It is, because I have to head out in a couple minutes. Oh, sugar. I'm running late. Soho Grand, 10 p.m. Okay, I'll be there at 10 p.m. Okay, so I could, honestly guys, we're streaming for another 20 minutes. God, that feels good. I was meant to meet a mate at 9:30, but it's been pushed back. Okay. Cheers. Damn, it feels good to be on the weekend. 7.4 million to replace Gabby. Which one should I pick? Ocon, I think. Ocon or Hadjar. Would you risk putting 2x in Russell instead of Norris with both in the team? No, I'd go Norris for sure. Indigo. Do I use 3x on Norris, Verstappen and Russell? I'd save it for Qatar, fellow state. Big Carmo. Piastri, Bortoletto to Russell, Ocon. Or just do Bortoletto to Ocon and roll. Autopilot either way. 3x in one of the next two with Norris, Verstappen. Yeah, dude, that's not bad shot. If you're going autopilot, play the upside with Russell, right? These look good. These look solid. Planning for 3x next weekend. Nikesh says, oh God. Is the stream not updating? It is. No, it's fine. Not worried. Nikesh, where's your question, my friend? Planning to remove McLaren for one of Red Bull or Ferrari. Who would you pick? Don't remove McLaren. Don't remove McLaren. I got triple McLaren signs and 2x Alpine. Drop Piastri for Russell. Yeah, I'd go Russell this week. Drop Piastri. He may well come back in your team in Qatar though. Get lit. I mean, it's a Friday night, right? If you're not having a drink, what are you doing? Autopilot for this race, Igor? Yes, I will activate autopilot. My team will be pretty much what you see on screen here, plus Ocon instead of Bordeaux. Can't afford Norris, Verstappen. Norris, Russell, Mercedes, McLaren. Who do I downgrade to? Russell, downgrade to Antonelli, I think. Who should we get? I'm leaning towards Ocon right now. Because he qualifies at the back. Loves a few overtakes. Did Piastri look that bad at all during practice? No, he was right in the mix. It was just McLaren were kind of nowhere because they didn't run a proper. They didn't get many running laps in because the track was slippery for the first 30, 40 minutes. So there are times I would not worry about at all. If you had to pick one, Norris or Verstappen, probably Norris. How about this? If you've got autopilot, I'd probably go Norris because you've got the backup of another driver. If you've got two A tiers to like potentially carry the load if Norris doesn't look good, and Norris ultimately you probably want in Qatar. But yeah, fair enough, Nikesh. Fair enough. If you don't have the budget for two premium, okay. So yeah, I drop McLaren then to like a Red Bull Mercedes and then run two premium drivers. If you haven't got the 3x chip, you definitely, I mean, not just for you, Nikesh, but for anyone pretty much, it's like you kind of have to position your team for two premium drivers on the 3x. German F99, Verstappen Alonso or Russell Sonoda? Verstappen Alonso. One transfer left, Norris to Verstappen. Fire out, that's a good team. Ariel, sorry. Could you roll? Would you just hold Norris and then roll the transfer and have three in... Well, hang on. Norris 2 Verstappen. Who's your other driver? You've only got, if you're going Norris 2 Verstappen, Ariel, then you've got, do you have another A-tier driver? Filling the gap in what I asked earlier, Eda -10 to bring up Antonelli Norris to Russell Norris, have McLaren and my Billy. Yeah, I don't mind that, honestly. Let's say like Russell. So I think, I guess the question you have to ask yourself if you're taking -10 is, will Russell score enough points to offset that -10 that you're making for Antonelli? Because if it's a 1-for-1 swap, I'd say Russell's probably 25, Antonelli's probably like 17 points. I mean, it's a couple points. It means nothing in the grand scheme of F1 fantasy when we score thousands of points over a season. But I would probably not take the. I would. It's a tricky one. I think I'd back George. Yeah, I'd take the -10. I'd take the -10. Don't take a hit to put Max in. 2x on Antonelli or Norris, Zakaka says. Norris. Wesley Wood, Norris, Russell, Behrman, or Russell, Hamilton, Antonelli. Norris, Russell, Behrman. Hi mate, from Italy. Who do you think is better between Gasly or Ocon? Ocon. Snivens. Great to have you back, mate. I have Norris already, but we'll need to take a hit to have Max. Is it worth it? No. How bad will Alonso be this weekend? Mike's asking. I don't think it'd be that great. I think it'd be fine. Probably like 5-6 points at most. Maybe more. Okay, Ariel, in that case, I would just keep Norris, honestly. I would keep Norris. Roll a transfer so you're set up for 3 next week potentially, and then position your team for if you're using the 3x, or just, yeah. When to use no negative if you still have it? Probably here or Qatar. Qatar because of the extra session of racing. Here because it looks a bit sketchy on the surface of the track. Russell Alonso or Behrman Antonelli. Russell Alonso, but I think it's close. Locked in Antonelli Bortoletto to Russell Colapinto and using Norris. Using autopilot Norris my other A. Great work, Devin. Big fan. Huge fan. Picking up an empty can of White Claw. No, he says 124 likes. Aiming for 150 for the stream would be a delight. 9,550 subs would be a delight. Having a sip of White Claw on a Friday, also a delight. Verstappen, Ocon, or Norris, Alonso. Yeah, Verstappen, Ocon, pretty good shout. Back that, Mike. Autopilot this week. I'm going autopilot this week. Azunkru. Sorry if I've said that wrong. Stevens, go to bed, man. It's so late. It's 9 p.m. here, so it's probably what, like 3 in the morning in Italy? Dedication, man. Have a great weekend too, my friend. Thank you for coming through. Double DRS on Norris or Russell? Norris. Lehadif. Got Max, Russell, Hadjar, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes. Looks good. Looks perfect. Perfect. It's like that meme where he's like, it was perfect. Don't know if anyone is so chronically online they got that, but yeah. All right. 5 more minutes. 7, maybe 8 more minutes. And all of you... Okay, Molly is asking a question. Planning the 3X in Qatar. Should I get Norris this week or stick with Verstappen? Great question. Molly, if you've got I would probably stick with Max if you can roll a transfer into Qatar. I'd stick with Max, yeah. Let's do some F1 predict. If that means you can roll a transfer. Have that flexibility in Qatar is going to be so valuable, I think. Especially for anyone that has the 3X. Okay. Alright. Make your predictions. Predict the podium for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Max, Super Max. No. I'll put you there. I'll put you here. It hurts. It hurts to not have Oscar on the podium. Who will make pole position? Mr. Saturday himself, George Russell. How many teams will get a car in Q3? 2 McLaren, 2 Ferrari, 2 Mercedes, 1 Red Bull, 1 Racing Bulls, 2 Williams. 7. No, 6. No, 7. I'm going to say 7. Yeah. Who will qualify highest? Fernando Alonso. Who will finish ahead in the race? Isaac Hadjar. Who will set the fastest pit stop in the race? Probably Red Bull. So why am I not thinking about Red Bull? Probably because I don't trust Tsunoda. Probably because I don't trust Tsunoda. Will the safety car be deployed? Yeah, I'd say so. Just hopefully not on my drivers. Who will set the fastest time? Max. So if I think Max is going to set the fastest time, then why am I not putting him in my fantasy team? I don't know. Which team will score more points this weekend? No, because they'll start at the back. Let's put Alonso for a points finish. Who will be the biggest gain in positions by a single driver in the race? I'm going to say 11 to 14. No. Well, it depends on if we have like a surprise in quali, right? I'm going to say 6 to 10. I should actually put the 2x on that. I just don't care about F1 Predict, but I will do my picks. All right. F1 Fantasy. Back to the chat. Okay, a few more questions coming through. I got a bit catching up to do. Joys. Norris Verstappen this week. I'd be stuck with either 3x next week with Russell. Molly, I would go Norris this week because you'll want Lando next. I think, like, my point of view is if you have to use the 3x next, if you're deciding between Verstappen and Norris, I think honestly, like, Norris is, it's, okay, put it this way. If you've got autopilot and or you have the 3x to use in Qatar, I think hold Norris. If you have neither chip, I would say go Verstappen, because I think Verstappen feels like, I'm going to put my team up on screen so you're not just looking at the homepage for F1 Fantasy. If you have neither chip, I would probably be going Verstappen because you want to play what's right in front of you. And I think Max looks quite good, but Lando looks fine. Like, again, I think we're just getting a little carried away with the fact that they were so far down the timing charts. But yeah, Max, I think if you've got 3x or autopilot, Lando. Just keep Lando. I don't think you need to change to Verstappen. But if you don't have any chips, then yeah, then I get the willingness to want to move to Verstappen. And roller transfer. Molly is saying roller transfer. I agree. Roller transfer. Dean, how are you, mate? Great to have you back as always, brother. Max P1, Kimi Russell, Nikesh. Man, you're bullish on Kimi. Double Alpine drivers worth it in order to get Norris, Antonelli, McLaren, Mercedes? Sure. For this week, sure. And you probably want the same next week. Jai Deep, I have Max, Russell, Lawson, Gabby, Behrman, McLaren, Mercedes. Any issues? None. Probably take out Bortoletto, put in Hadjar, I would say. Got Verstappen, Russell, Gasly, Hadjar, but also have Red Bull, Mercedes. This is a good team to work with. I think with your budget, it's perfectly fine. Who's your 5th driver, though? People think McLarens have fallen off when Norris set faster lap in FP2. They should be on pace in quality, but I feel like if Max gets it ahead early, he wins like inspiring back. I completely agree. I think, yeah, McLaren have not fallen off. If you watch practice, you would have seen there was literally nothing. There was not a competitive time set for the first 45 minutes. I would not stress about McLaren. How is Team 2 doing? Team 2 is like 200 in the world. Team 2 is crushing it, as per usual. And my Team 1 is never once beaten my Team 2. Good transfers, Archie. Yeah, I think they're great transfers. Alonso, Leclerc, Red Bull out for Ocon, Russell, Mercedes. Great work. Thoughts on Alonso? Should I go Ocon? I think Rad Pancakes. If you can roll a transfer, sure. If you can make just Alonso out, Ocon in, and roll a transfer, even better. Devin, thank you for dropping by, brother. Appreciate it as always. You can take Red Bull in McLaren and get Vert in for Russ. You can take Red Bull in, McLaren out, and get Verstappen in for Russell. I wouldn't be taking out McLaren. Ocon, Sainz, Gasly, Hadjar. Pick two. Ocon, Sainz. I'd say it's Ocon's number one, Carlos, and then it's probably Sainz, Hadjar close, and then Gasly last. Genuine brain fart, but if I have 3 transfers, I make 2 transfers. I will have 3 for Qatar, right? Correct, you will. I have triple McLaren with Sainz, Alonso, Bortoleto, Mercedes. Any advice? Triple McLaren with Sainz, Alonso, Bortoleto. That's pretty good. I'd consider maybe taking out Piastri for Russell, William, and Bortoleto for Hadjar. That's pretty much what I'd do. Oh, look, maybe keep Piastri because I think he'll be good in Qatar. Bortoleto, how about this? My proposition, William, would be Bortoleto out for Hadjar or Ocon, if you can afford, and roll a transfer into Qatar. Dean has a no negative. Why have you still got the no negative, brother? Why have you still got the no negative? Use that this week, I would say. 3x in Qatar, final fix in Abu Dhabi. This game week, you playing FPL? Wait, this is F1 Fantasy. Get with the program. Hadjar for Alonso, thank you. Yes, Hadjar definitely in for Alonso. Great pick. Got autopilot to use on my other 2 teams. Brother. All right. We've been going for 2.5 hours. Longer than I expected, considering... Oh, I can come earlier. I can leave now. What works? Yeah. Ranks. You've just been looking at my FPL team. Lol. Ocon or Behrman? Behrman. Behrman, I will take over Ocon 100%, but I can't afford Behrman in one swap. I'm 0.2 short to take out Bortoleto. So for that reason, I would get Behrman. If not, Ocon is perfectly fine. The guy behind me in my league is going to have a Lando, Kimi, McLaren, Mercedes. I'm just trying to limit damage. Valid. When would you use autopilot? Now. I'm using it now, I think, because of the fact... Dean, what's your team? Have you got like similar to me? I can't remember. I feel like we talk more about FPL than we talk about fantasy, F1 fantasy. But I feel like if your team's pretty similar to this one, like I'm like 100% set on taking out Bortoleto and moving in Ocon. 100% set on that. But then watch Ocon DNF and ruin my entire weekend. What's the elite data saying? I don't know, man. I'm pretty set on... Like, what did Ocon say in... Last time I opened a tab in my internet browser, the entire stream disconnected, for those of you that were here an hour and a half ago. So, I'm playing it pretty safe. Okay. I should have just hit Control F, honestly. There we go. It was difficult out there, like it always is in Vegas. It's difficult to get the tyres up. With a little bit of rain, it was even harder. We have the main things to try and improve. We couldn't complete our run on the soft campaign. We didn't do any laps, so it was a bit of a disruptive session. But we're going to work on getting more temperature in the tyres and getting more confidence in the braking. Like, it's kind of similar to what Bamman was saying too, right? And like these guys are pretty similar. Statistics wise, let's go. If I go now qualifying, pretty sure Behrman's out-qualified Ocon like most of the, yeah. Like I would love to see a 17th from Ocon. I would love a 17th in Vegas. Like that's just overtakes paradise. Like this guy has not made it into Q2. Oh no, in Mexico, right? He hasn't made it into Q1 since Monaco. Q3, sorry, since Monaco. Yeah, I'm so okay with this Ocon transfer, to be honest. All right, 5 minutes. 5 minutes left on the stream, guys. He was, yeah, Ocon, yeah, I know, Mike. It's like, I kind of just hope I mean, the Haas guys were both pretty negative, so it's like, well, make what you will with what you have. As long as he, like, again, I'm probably putting a jinx on him. So if you guys read my article on Formula1.com this week, my strategist selection article, you would have seen a stat I quoted about reliability. If we look at Ocon, he's had one race retirement, one race DNF all season. Imola. Gasly, similar. Sorry, he's had 3, but since Monaco, he and Ocon are some of the most reliable drivers. Since we hit the European leg, I was quite fascinated by this stat, in fact. So if we take Monaco out, so since Spain onwards, Ocon, Gasly, Norris has retired. I mean, he's retired, but he's been classified. Tsunoda and Russell. So 4 drivers. If we take Norris out, Gasly and Ocon are cool heads. They're experienced. He was cursed early on. I totally get that, but like, there's clearly been a change in fortunes. Finally, then you kind of want experienced drivers at these kind of tracks. Like, rookies are the ones that struggle in these changeable, variable conditions. So I'm okay with having an Ocon and a Gasly and a Sainz in my team. All right, a couple more minutes. I'm going to get through the last few questions and we'll wrap it up. And I want every single one of you. There is 150 of you still watching and 136 likes. I would love a 150 like count, and that's all I'm going to ask. That's all I'm going to ask. And then I have a request for all of you when the stream ends, or just before the stream ends. If you still want more F1 Fantasy content, I know just the man for you. Thanks for the tips as usual, Rob. I'm going to sleep at 3:20. Yeah, man, get some rest, Mario. You're one dedicated fantasy strategist. I'll give you that. Dean's team: Norris, Antonelli, Bem, Tsunoda, Bortoleto, McLaren, Mercedes. Get out Bortoleto, brother. Could you upgrade Antonelli to Russell, downgrade Tsunoda? Potentially, like, downgrade Tsunoda and Bortoleto to like a Gasly, Colapinto type and get Russell in. That's my suggestions, I think, if you can afford it. Verstappen, Russell, Sainz, Colapinto, Bortoleto, and McLaren, Mercedes, 0 in the bank, 3 transfers. I would say Bortoleto out. Maybe like Bortoleto out and Bortoleto out for like Hadjar. Like, you've got a pretty good team. It's hard, like, to pivot. Like, for like more flexibility, you'd have to drop Russell to Antonelli, I think, or to Leclerc, which isn't really much to upgrade, like your Colapinto. I'd be fine with making one and burning one. I've done that before. I'm doing Bam and Ocon, Isaac, Max, Russell, J Deep. That sounds great. Anthony Hamilton. I have Norris, Verstappen, Red Bull, Mercedes. Would you use autopilot now? I would use it now. I wouldn't wait for the sprint. Max or Russell, 2x. Max, Sainz or Ocon. Ocon. That being said, I'm going Sainz, Ocon, Gasly as my dog's breakfast drivers. Nice, Mike. Same boat. Max or Lando. Max, but Max is a goat. I can do Tsunoda down to Alonso or Colapinto to upgrade Antonelli. Yeah, that sounds fine, mate. Switch to Norris or stay on Max. Depends what other fires you have in your team, Arjun. Like, if you can roll a transfer to Qatar, I think that would be really good. There's nothing wrong with staying on Norris. But I said before, if you have autopilot or 3x, I would stay on Norris. If you have neither, I would probably move to Max. I think that's the main question. It's like, okay, last poll, 2 minutes to go, and then I'm out of here. Start a poll. Far out. Going out at 10 p.m. on a Friday night. I'm not in my 20s anymore, and I'm still going out at this wild hour. Norris. This is the longest stream I've done on this channel as well. Better fantasy option this week. look, if you guys don't want to take my advice, I wouldn't take my advice as far as I even though I should. Go with who people are saying in the poll. Max is a goat though. AP with Norris Russell, 100%. If you have wildcard, go with Max. Yeah, agreed, Mike. Yeah, if you've got chips, a bit of a pickle. I'm literally about to drop from the stream. Mercedes still in. Oh, the stream's gone again. Maybe that's time to wrap it up. I think that's time. Stream dropped. Stream dropped. So I think it's probably time. Okay. Come on. Work with me. Why isn't this stream? Fudge. I think we're back. No, we're not. I think the stream's still going. It looks like it's collapsing on my side, so maybe I'll wrap it up, even if I've lost you or I haven't. But anyway, plenty of questions in the chat to close out. But it's been a pretty good stream, guys. I appreciate all of you dropping by. Like I said, a little earlier than usual with other commitments, but yeah, Mike made a great point. If you still want more F1 Fantasy content, go check out F1 Fantasy Pole Position on YouTube. He's streaming live right now, and he is live until the deadline. And tell Ewan I sent you. Tell Ewan Rob sent you if you want. Yeah, he would appreciate that so much. On your way out, subscribe to the channel. Please do drop a like on the video as well. But yeah, send all my love to Ewan across the road, because he's going to be live for another hour and a bit. So yeah, guys, as always, I'm going to wrap it up, but thank you for another banger of a stream, a slightly more relaxed one than usual given the random hours for the deadline, but appreciate you dropping by. I'll be back with more content for Qatar. So as always, good luck with your teams this weekend. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all very, very soon.